Well, a happy whatever day it is that you're watching this. You know, I was invited spontaneously. It was a pretty spur of the moment thing to address this startup entrepreneur group, and there's a lot of people there that have businesses and responsibility that would make my life look like a drop in the ocean. But it just so happened I'm friends with the fellow who organizes it, and he asked me at the last minute, he says, "Kevin, do you want to be our speaker?" And I thought he was joking. I said, "Yeah, sure. I said, I'll tell him how to do business." Well, it turns out he was serious, and I have always enjoyed public speaking, and so I got up there. He asked me to tell them about the beekeeping business and business in general, and I told him, I said, I can share everything I know and all of my wisdom in one sentence: I don't know. And that's kind of the way I feel somewhat. My wife and I have been really fortunate to have success with most things that we try in business, in life. We certainly have our share of failures as well, but statistically we've been very fortunate. And so, you know I have some wisdom to share, some experience to share in business, but at the same time too, the more you're in business, the more you oftentimes wonder how you are in business, just because there's a lot of challenges. But the one thing that I would point out in regards to commercial beekeeping, the first video I did on starting the conversation about commercial beekeeping was to read the book E-Myth by Michael Gerber, which I highly recommend, because it talks about the importance of prioritizing your time. Also, defining whether, when you're starting a business, do you want to be the owner-operator, or do you want to work to the point of where you're an owner but not an operator, which obviously allows you more freedom to work on the business versus in the business. So really important topic. Doesn't matter what business, but it obviously applies to beekeeping. The second thing that I would recommend strongly, and this is another business principle that applies pretty well to any industry or anything you're doing, but can apply to commercial beekeeping as well, is specialization. I have often said that I think the colony collapse disorder was in some ways one of the best things that could have happened to the beekeeping industry, simply because it brought so much attention back to what we're doing. I'm reading this incredible book right now, and I can't remember the name of the author, but it's Bees, A History of How Bees Made a Nation, or something along those lines. I'll maybe post it later. But anyways, talking about the history of beekeeping in the United States. And beekeeping from the very beginning of the U.S. was incredibly important to the culture and was very much a mainstream thing, especially during World War I, World War II, up until really the 50s. Anyways, so the whole point is that we have all this attention being brought back on the industry, on beekeeping, on honeybees, and because of all the interest, it's really easy to just scatter yourself in 20 different directions of doing honey, queen rearing, nukes, packages, bulk honey, retail honey, royal jelly. I mean, it just goes on and on. I mean, there's so many things. But specialize, focus on one area, and preferably an area that you really like and that's profitable, and just perfect that, or at least get really good. Get to be one of the best in that market, and then look at expanding from there. But it's very easy to spread yourself thin, and there was such a demand here when I first started back in this area for local queens that I started selling some, and then I realized, you know what, I don't have the time and dedication right now to do this well. And so even though I was fortunate enough that I didn't get any complaints, you know, everyone as far as I know was happy with the queens they got from me, I could see the trajectory being detrimental, because I could see eventually it getting to the point, because I was already focused on building other areas of the business, that if I kept trying to do that along with everything else, the quality would be compromised. Thus would our business reputation and our brand, which is, you know, everything. So yeah, I'd say just that. That's the my new tattoo. I like it. I would just say specialize, find an area, and of course, you know, probably one of the best ways to do that is to work for a commercial beekeeper, and see those different sides of the industry done well, and then just kind of go from there. So anyways, so that's part 2 of talking commercial beekeeping. And really, I mean, like I said, obviously there's specifics in beekeeping that's different from other industries, but the business principles, core business principles, as far as I can think of at the top of my head, remain the same. So anyways, catch you a little later.